Alright, welcome, hello, good afternoon, good morning. Let me just adjust my mic here, sorry about that. We're gonna be getting started very shortly. I'm just grabbing the maps real quick, which I forgot to do, as this main menu music just goes unnecessarily hard. I kind of love it though, to be honest. So let's do this here. We don't have too many competitors today. A lot of people just got the game, they're still learning and playing. A lot of people are interested in the game, kind of keeping an eye on it, so I didn't expect to get a huge turnout for this launch weekend tournament. Just wanted to get things started, get the ball rolling, start to get a feel for the game, what things are OP and what things are not. So, cool. Let me just make some notes here real quick on the maps, and we'll get things going. So, I hope you all are well. Thank you all for turning out today. It's been an awesome weekend for me so far. Hit the slopes here in Utah for the opening day of some of the nice ski resorts, and had a great time. A little bit sore, but yeah, it's a fun weekend. Yesterday, my wife threw me a birthday party because my birthday's coming up this week, which I'll probably be hosting another event. I'm probably going to do Realms of Ruin, honestly. I might do Total War Warhammer, but this game kind of has me a little bit more excited right now than Total War Warhammer, so let's see. Give me just a second while I grab these map names real quick. Okay. Okay. Got all those map names, and let's go ahead and join this first matchup here. Okay. What do I think about the meta so far? Let's see here. Nope, that's not what I wanted. How do I join as a spectator? Let's see. Nope, that's not what I want to do. Yeah, the meta, it's hard to say so far. Nighthaunts initially seem really strong and certainly seem like they're the easiest faction to play, potentially. We'll definitely be seeing some Nighthaunts today, but, yeah, okay. Give me just a second, guys. I'll be right back. Okay, so we're here, and we're ready to get started. Had a little bit of organizing to do. It's been a while. Haven't hosted, actually, an event in quite some time, but yeah, like I said, this game's got me a little bit jazzed up. You know, I see a lot of potential here, and it's a game that seems, on the base of it, relatively easy to learn, but like there's a high skill ceiling in terms of mastery also. Like there's a lot of kind of exploration of different strategies, build orders, timings, and things that, like, so far I really have experimented with a lot of different things, and personally it's a little bit hard for me to tell what's optimal. There's definitely better players out there already who, you know, no doubt have some very strong strategies, but yeah, it's just a very interesting game overall, you know, and I hope that sincerely that there's some good post-launch support, that we get more like factions, characters, units, you know, just stuff to add more variety to the game. But even with what there is right now, even though there's, like, you know, by Total War Warhammer standards, certainly very few kind of individual units and stuff, just the different ways things can kind of unfold. Ooh, interesting. Okay, so I actually haven't really checked out the spectator interface much yet, but okay, so that's how I switch sides. I can check the visibility of the different players. I can also see their incomes up here, unit cap, what they're producing here. So we see already Like Ice is coming out with some of these Vanguard Raptors. These are the crossbowmen. Still learning all the names of the Age of Sigmar stuff. The Liberators, of course, regular infantry. And looks like he's coming forward. You do get Realm Stone for capturing objectives, so he's coming forward and just, like, small capping these objectives, trying to just rush the Realm Stone as quick as possible to basically immediately tier to tier 2. So pretty interesting strategy. He's already got all of his side capped here. If we take a look at the other side, Satyrus also trying to get these objectives capped. He's spending a little bit more time, though, to secure these individual objectives at a higher percentage, so he's probably going to be looking to build income buildings here, perhaps. But, yeah, Like Ice just pushing very aggressively. And it looks like we got a little fight unfolding up here. What is this? Knight? Lord Gloam. Nice. Lord Gloam getting in against the Liberators. It's caught up a little bit here. It's going to take some damage, but, yeah, he'll definitely prevail in that fight in the long term, but it will take him quite some time. Like Ice is going to come over, secure this side objective here. Both of them basically even on Realm Stone right now, just trying to produce up to their cap in units. You'll notice that the Night Haunts just immediately have a higher... Oh, jeez, I'm not actually gassing the game, am I? Oh, legendary. High skill ceiling blocker. Definitely high skill ceiling blocker. But it's okay. So we're starting to get some actual fights play out here. Knight Vexlor is tanking some damage very nicely. It's going to get these Liberators around the side here, but that opens up Lord Gloam to get in the crossbows. Really nice charge right there. Vanguard Raptors volleying in. I mean, I think this is going to be an overall loss. Yeah, Nighthaunt's going to pull back the Chain Rasps there. And... or no, those are not Chain Rasps. Craven Throne Guard, that's right. And it looks like, just in general, going to pull back. Smart. Like Ice was definitely trading up in terms of value there. But I don't know, did either side actually lose any units? Looks like Ice might have lost one, but no problem. Legendary. Legendary blocker for the win. Legendary blocker for the win, for sure. Yes. Anyway. Both sides still just kind of contesting the center to a degree. The Craven Throne Guard are one unit that you can definitely mass pretty heavily because they're so cheap, but right now, I mean, on an individual basis, the Nighthaunt units aren't going to trade that well, so... honestly, it might be in the Nighthaunt's best interest just to kind of rally and sort of build up their forces at their home objective, and then try and push forward and, you know, kind of go from there. But yeah, let's take a look here. No conduits being built or Like Ice so far. He's just straight up fighting, just straight up trading and kind of pushing aggressively. Whereas Satyrus, yeah, both sides actually no conduits being built. Like Ice does have enough to throw down, or maybe go up to tier 2. But let's see. Yep, looks like not tiering up yet. Maybe doesn't have quite enough Realm Stones, so maybe we see a, Realm Stone conduit being built here. Although he does need to come in and fully cap this objective if he really wants to get the most out of that Realm Stone income. But Saturas now has some pretty good pressure. He's all capped the objectives. He's going to come in and try and destroy this structure before it can be built here. So some pretty good timing as Like Ice kind of pulls his army back to all heal. It allows Nighthaunt to get some good battlefield control, but looks like he does take another objective there. Gives him a little pump of Realm Stone, so he's got enough now to tier up to tier 2. But, oh no! Oh no, game crashed. Oh geez, I hope we don't have too many of these. I mean, it is launch weekend, but that's not ideal. That's actually the first crash to desktop I've had playing this game, and of course it happens in the first game I'm trying to stream. Oh, wow, okay. It's going good so far. Going good so far. Might be just me, in which case we'll actually just let them play it out and we'll just join into the semifinal on the opposite side of the bracket. But any chance for a late sign up? I'm so sorry, Battlesy, not today, but I will be hosting an event on Thursday. I know it's a holiday in the US, but it's also my birthday, happens to be. So I think I'm probably going to host an event also, another kind of single faction tourney with a similar setup. It will likely start later in the day though, because I have a lunch at noon, but yes, all is lost. I think they didn't respond to my chat on Discord, which means they're probably sweating it out in game still. So, I'm just gonna let that go on, and whatever the result there will be will stand. We got a little preview of what that matchup. It was shaping up to be a pretty interesting one. I'm pretty sad we crashed out, honestly, on that, but I guess I leveled up by crashing. That's hilarious. So let's go ahead and jump into the next one, actually. So if I can. Okay, so we'll get these guys hosting their game, and then we'll join in on that. Yeah, a little bit frustrating. It's all good. It's going good. It's going good. We had a little bit of a crash in the spectator mode, but that's okay. Probably one of the parts of the game that got QA tested the least, I would guess, because it's, like, relatively niche. But, yeah, we're persevering here. We're gonna continue on and get things going shortly. I don't think I can rejoin as a spectator. yeah, no, okay. We'll wait for these guys to get the next semifinal hosted. We've got Nakamura versus Stormrunner, so it should be a good time. And we'll see what they choose first on their picks. It is going to be blind picks for the semifinal round, so basically each player will PM me their army picks, and then I'll announce them in chat, so that way there's no counterpicking. Of course, once they pick the faction, you can't pick it again. So, yeah. Got the maps here also ready to go, so we'll get things going shortly. Yeah, honestly, I haven't had too many issues. Like, literally the first day of early access, they had some server issues, but they got that ironed out immediately. And so, I'm kind of surprised, actually. The game so far has been very stable. And just, yeah, I haven't had many issues at all, so I'm kind of surprised, actually. Of course, though, it's like, you know, when I try and stream, it is the time I have issues, but, yeah, we'll see. I think if they were to add more factions and more, like, more variety of stuff, more content, you could say, I think the game's probably worth $60 for me, like, personally. And I know, you know, value proposition's different for everyone, but given how in-depth the campaign seems to be, and just overall, there, like, for what there is, there's a good amount of content, like, good amount of replayability for what's there. So, yeah, I mean, if you could get it on sale, like, if it happens to go on sale for the holiday Steam sale, like, you could probably pick it up, like, 30, 40 bucks. I think that'd be a pretty good price for what you have right now. And from what I understand, they already have quite a bit of post-launch support planned in terms of new content. I don't know exactly if that's going to be free. I would assume they'll have some free, some paid DLC, no doubt, but even just for the multiplayer, I mean, but also we'll have to see over the next few weeks how quickly they're able to kind of respond to balance feedback, if there is pretty heavy balance feedback. It seems like right now my haunts are pretty insane, but be shocked if it went on sale for the next, right away for the next month or so. Yeah, I don't know. It's possible, I guess. I don't know if I would be necessarily shocked. It would be a little bit surprising, I guess, but yeah, I mean, the game sold, I'd have to look at the numbers. I don't know if it sold super well. Like, I think it sold okay, but for me personally, like, if I put my businessman hat on for a minute, if I'm in the developer, and I think it's self-published by the developer on Steam, I would probably want to just get the game into as many hands as possible for the holiday season, and get some kind of return, because, yeah, I mean, if you have, you know, 10,000 people buy it at $40, that's much better than less at less, right? Or less at more. I don't know. Christmas is coming, yeah, and even without it necessarily going on sale, I do think people will probably pick it up. You know, people get like Steam gift cards for holidays, and like I just got a Steam gift card for my birthday last night, right? So if I hadn't been given a key by the developer, I would probably have used that money to buy this game. So yeah, I would guess like 10 to 20% off. That seems pretty reasonable, you know, and even at like 20% off, you know, that's what, like $48-ish. That's not bad. Depends on, you know, how you're doing financially, and there's a lot of other factors that go into it there, but you have to make that value determination for yourself, which is why I don't typically make reviews. Like, I generally am not comfortable giving value recommendations to other people, because your life situation is completely different from mine, most likely. So, oh, thank you, Imperialist Gondola. Appreciate it. Okay, let's see here. Excellent. Okay, so looks like for round one, if I actually get my scoreboard up this time, let me just quickly arrange this here. Just hoping we don't have another crash. Okay. Just getting the scoreboard updated with the names of the players and the factions they're going to be playing in this first game. So once again, we've got Cruel Boys versus Night Haunts. Night Haunts, all one word. I'm just going to go with that. I actually don't even know. It's all fairly new to me, I'm going to be honest. Like, I've kind of kept an eye on Age of Sigmar for a while. I haven't been super interested. Let's see here. The map is going to be... Kill a Pit. Okay, so yeah, I got this fancy scoreboard here. Look at that. Fantastic. Age of Empires 4 for 20 bucks. That's a steal. That's a big game. Yeah, I mean, at 20 bucks, I think this game would probably be worth it to pick up if you want to just play the campaign. Like, I know, and that won't be in some people's interest, but, like, for me, there's not really a lot of stories of Age of Sigmar in video games yet, which is generally the medium that I most enjoy. So, like, I don't know, for me, having an Age of Sigmar, I'll probably play through the campaign just to kind of get a feel, even if, you know, so far what I played in the campaign seems pretty decent. I mean, it seems certainly like on the level of something like Dawn of War at the very least, but maybe even better. But yeah, I mean, it's up to you all individually, but it's a game, at least for the time, that interests me enough that I'll cover it on the channel. It seems to be getting pretty good reception too. Like, sadly, my Age of Wonders video kind of bombed. I kind of expected it to bomb to a degree. Like, generally, when I've tried to cover other games, it doesn't get the same reception as Total War Warhammer, which I totally understand. I've kind of built that niche for myself, so I have to live in it, but now let's see here. Nakamura coming out the gates hot with some skewers. Little crossbowmen. Cruel Boys are super fun. There's like more Mordor-y orcs, more classical orcs and goblins. Almost Tolkien-esque, but of course with that nice Warhammer flair. But anyway, wasn't on the Reddit to join the tournament. Top 10 as of now. Yeah. That's awesome, Quentin. Yeah, if you, I'll have to check. If you check the link to the description, to my Discord in the description down below. If it's not working, let me know. I can refresh it and put a new one up. But yeah, generally I'll be announcing that through my Discord servers, and I'll try and put them also on Reddit when I can. But yeah, I know there's a lot of great players on the ladder, and I unfortunately didn't have an avenue to reach you guys all very easily because there's not like an official Discord that I know of or anything. But yeah, I mean, certainly I'll be hosting more events, probably at least once every 2 weeks, maybe once a week if the reception's really, really good, but certainly going to be hosting more events as time goes on. But we're going to get a little engagement playing out here already. Looks like Nakamura's got some decent forces here, but this hero for Stormrunner should swing things. Let's see if he spends any Realmstone on early abilities. Generally, from what I've seen, a lot of these players haven't been spending Realmstone on early abilities, but Call of Duty streamer win. Definitely never. Even though, yeah, I've actually played Call of Duty a bit in the last couple of years with friends in real life, but yeah, that's a game that personally I don't know. Like, I'll play it for fun with my friends, but I don't, it's not my favorite thing. But yeah, oh, Nakamura very quickly amassing huge army here, well, relatively speaking, but that's just Night Haunts for you. We've got quite a few Craven Thrones, some Chain Rasps, so unfortunately some of those Craven Thrones get kind of tangled up there. We do see the sweep attack from Killaboss here, but ooh, he gets super low, and that's something I personally need to work on myself, is when you're facing Night Haunts and other ranged heavy armies in the early game, you retreat your units way too late, and they just end up getting killed by the ranged attacks while they're retreating. Definitely very painful, but yeah, Nakamura definitely just sending a big message here early on. He's got a nice triple cap, got a pretty hefty army with some kind of roving, sneaky gits over here. Speaking of sneaky gits, we've got these Hobgrots over here. They should trade pretty well, but yeah, looks like he's already got the shield up. So if we look here, yeah, still on tier 1. Almost has enough to go up to tier 2, but definitely pushing really aggressively here to just capture all of the objectives. Let's see. Yeah, Chain Rasps and just other Night Haunts low tier units are so cost effective. So Stormrunner's got a whole bunch of units queued up. Honestly, he probably should just kind of hang everything back together and try and regroup and push as one big cohesive force, just because this is an absolute early game death ball of Night Haunts, and like with an equivalent amount of units of other early game stuff, you probably win, but it's yeah, with just this kind of almost half army here, and you really need to get these other Hobgrots in the fight. But again, this is something that I personally need to work on, so yeah, the Gut Rip is actually trading okay. They're able to do a pretty hefty amount of damage, but Nakamura's a little bit command locked right now. Looks like Stormrunner has enough to actually throw Realmstone building here, since he's not quite pop capped. So as long as he's still producing units, which he's not, definitely needs to be. Yeah, Nakamura is a very good player. Definitely a very good player. He was he a assembly employee, I believe? I don't really want to call attention to it too much, but yeah, very solid player. Got some experience with some other RTS games, I believe. And is he pro in something, I want to say? I don't know. I probably should know this. Probably should know a little bit more information about these players, but yeah, you know, looks like Stormrunner's gonna concede on game 1. I mean, Night Haunts, it's overwhelming, honestly, to play against against a player who's very good, like Nakamura clearly is. So, excellent. We'll go to next on the best of 3. We'll wait for them to get things going. Nope, yep. Go ahead and update the scoreboard in the meantime. Nakamura takes the first one there pretty decisively. That early Night Haunts pressure. Just so strong, man. So strong. Who knew Ghosts could do such heavy lifting? And, I mean, there's a number of factors that go into it, but there's the fact that they have the sort of shield/barrier mechanic that we see in a lot of other RTS games, right? Like Tzeentch, which is also in this game. In Total War Warhammer, they have the barrier mechanic. In this game, they do not. Instead, the Night Haunts do. And that gives them, obviously, that extra HP bar. They can regenerate out of combat before they take real HP damage. They also have an ability where you have to research it, but their units, a lot of their units basically get like a horde mechanic, where if they're nearby other units with the same modifier, they get progressively stronger. Not to mention, all of your outpost buildings give you the ability to summon more units at the same time, in your unit summoning queue. So there's just so many factors that make Night Haunts very tricky to play against and very strong to play. So we'll see. I would say, yeah, again, this is super early still, but early balance. Seems like Nighthaunt's might be, well, certainly I think it'll take time for people to figure out what's the most optimal ways to play against them. Like I said earlier, I don't know if they're necessarily OP, but they certainly seem to be the easiest faction to just sort of pick up and play immediately at a high level. But, 3 shields, 3 archers. Yeah, it's interesting. The charger, the tier 1 charger dudes, the Hobgrots, what they are, right? They seem pretty decent as well. Like, I've had some pretty good games with them, but that was not against Nighthaunts. That was against Stormcasts, I believe. See. Yeah, just waiting for these guys to rehost. They were analyzing their post-match statistics, which I guess I didn't get access to, or did I just skip past them? Yeah. Kind of like Nighthaunts on tabletop. Pretty straightforward, relatively easy to play. Yeah, definitely seemed like the most beginner-friendly faction, but I'm sure people will come up with ways to fight them, and that's one of the reasons why I love hosting competitive events, is you see, you know, kind of the strategies start to come out as people develop and build, and different metas emerge, and sometimes even, you know, over time, even without a balance patch, the meta might change, because people will experiment and try new things, and it's fun. Yeah, it's different from Warcraft 3. I don't know, to be honest. Well, Warcraft 3, for me, I didn't really ever play competitively in multiplayer, so I couldn't tell you. My Warcraft 3 experience was all doing, like, custom game MOBAs, basically. You know, like Hero Line Wars, or, yeah, like the original Dota, or just more stuff like that. I didn't really play the actual RTS or Warhammer competitively. I mean, it's hard to say for me that, but it is true that the golden age of RTSs has largely passed, it seems like the kind of the mass appeal of something like Warcraft 3 or StarCraft 2 might never really happen again. We'll see, but like, as long as an RTS game can get a dedicated, you know, even if it's a relatively niche audience to play multiplayer, or, you know, fans or players rather, it can get a good scene and sustain it for quite a long time. So no, the units are not it's not necessarily like Warcraft. I don't know. It's, yeah, more like, again, not games that I've played a ton, but Company of Heroes or Dawn of War. Only real complaint is the sticky combat. Yeah, insta-stuck in fights. It is a little bit annoying that, like, if your archers get caught, the only way to get them out is to spend a little bit of command, have them retreat all the way back to your main base, which on some maps is honestly not that much of an issue, but real-time tabletop. I'm guessing RTT. Okay, let's see here. Yep, let's do this. Okay. Okay. And then the map is going to be another quick one. Or actually, no, I think this one's a little bigger. Okay. Sorry, just... Hey, Red Salamander, good to see you. Yeah, it's been quite a while. How you been, my friend? Yeah, Age of Empires 2 is probably the biggest RTS scene currently. I would agree with that. And the fact that Age of Empires 2 is still in active development, like they're still producing new content for that game is awesome. And that's one that I've thought about trying to get into Age of Empires 2 and starting to kind of, play and host tournaments and sort of integrate into that community. It's a little bit daunting sometimes just because that community's existed for so long, It's like, who do I think I am that I can suddenly just insert myself into that conversation? But it's definitely something that interests me. I mean, I played AoE 2 as a kid. I didn't really ever play multiplayer competitively, and even still to this day, it's a game that seems daunting, especially for someone who has kind of potato micro like me a little bit sometimes. But yeah, I think I could still probably play enough to learn to be able to cast, reasonably competently. But sweet. Gonna be Tzeentch versus Stormcast Eternals. Excellent. Age of Mythology. I played Age of Mythology, actually. It's good to hear, my friend. That's good to hear. Dawn of War 1 was peak RTS. Real-time tactics. Yeah, not a whole lot of base building economy. Using smaller unit squads to cap points. Yes, certainly. You help me learn, do some 2v2s. Okay, I could maybe noob it up a little bit on some AoE 2. Because not that I'll never stop covering Total War Warhammer, but I think it's in my best interests, and I've realized this. I've always kind of known this, and I've wanted to branch out, but recently, just given the situation with Total War, how poorly things in many ways seem to be going, and hopefully Creative Assembly can start to turn things around a little bit. I am hopeful for, next update for Total War Warhammer 2. And, yeah, hopefully we can continue kindly pressuring them to give us more content for Shadows of Change. But anyway, yeah, it's in my best interest to branch out and to cover other games and to have some other options of things that I can mix in when Total War Warhammer's not doing well. So yeah, this is certainly one of them. Age of Empires 2 could certainly be one of them. Age of Empires 4 could honestly be 2, but yeah, I don't know. AoE 2 is just a little bit more nostalgic for me, I think, and since it's also in active development and there's tons of factions, be fun to learn. But let's see here. Stormrunner coming in. He's staying on top of things to a degree, getting some points capped. Nakamura also. Both players a little bit spread out right now, but getting pop capped. And we've got Aiden here. This banner is my honor. Beautiful. Wonderful Aiden. Just the most handsome. Look at that Chad. He is an absolute Chad, it must be said. Not the biggest fans of the Stormcast, but when they take their helmets off, I feel like it's better. Not that I don't like their helmets, but it's just, ooh, those Kyric Acolytes getting stomped. Yeah, not a great situation for them, but here we see some more troops emerging. The Horrors in particular are quite good, and we see a nice charge from the Kyric Acolytes. They managed to get in and stun. That is going to use up some early command, but Stormrunner's got some command to give. And it looks like he's already, yeah, he just threw down a Realmstone building here. Nice thing about Tzeentch is you can research upgrades to where their Realmstone production buildings actually are towers also and can defend themselves. So makes it a little bit more worth it, in my opinion, to build. They can act a little bit more independently and actually help you hold objectives without having to use your unit cap in order to allocate resources to do so. But we'll see here. Stormrunner needs to get his troops back and kind of pop up. Right now he's only half strength, and Nakamura is definitely punishing him heavily for that. Oh yeah, not playing Cruel Boys. Forgot to update the scoreboard. That's okay. Let's see here. I think I can probably playing. Right? Yes. we'll zoom back over to where the action is. Stormrunner getting pressured. He's going to flee back to his home objective. Nakamura just pressuring heavily once again. Yeah, just the early pressure seems to be the way to play. And you really need to make sure you keep your unit population capped for the most part. But, Nakamura moving in. Be capping this objective potentially. Stormrunner is kind of sending a Kyric Acolyte out there by itself. It's going to have a rough time. Yeah, I think Nakamura might have got this one locked up already. It's hard to say. He's got so much pressure coming in. And even just these guys like standing out at a distance, as long as they're still within this range, which granted is going to shrink past them, they will continue some damage there. But some nice AoE damage coming in from Tzeentch, being counteracted by the healing from the hero of Sigmar there, Aiden, waving his big old flag around. You wave your flag, Chad. I'll be honest, if I had a giant banner of Sigmar like that, I would just wave it around all day. Nakamura gonna wisely pull back. Once the Death Ball of Horrors gets going, and that's the thing, is Stormrunner really just needs to kind of stay at his base until he has like 4 or 5 Horrors, and then just move up from there, because the early game, it's going to be very tough to deal with. You could potentially actually push back here. But, yeah, taking a little bit of damage on that Silver Tower tether. Probably hasn't had a chance to research the tech yet. But anyway, let me update this other faction real quick. Not Night Haunts. Stormcast. Yes. Yeah, so let's see here. Got this force pushing forward. Acolytes are going to get there a little bit early. But, let's see. Are they going to try and get in a little rear charge here? Try and save the building? Structure is likely to go down regardless. It's going to lose out on a decent amount of command there, but Nakamura's also got some command. It looks like he's got his own Realm Stone production going here, although it is only 53% capped, so it's not going to be the most efficient production, but let's see here. Yes. Stormcast just falling back. Don't need to overextend and lose too much resources. And the Tzeentch early game death ball, like I said, is quite scary. So it is over. I don't know. I mean, it's definitely looking scary. Stormrunner's going to have to start making some moves quick. But as long as he can keep his forces together, and he actually did manage to save that Realmstone building. So I mean, I don't know. He might be in an okay position. Let's see if he's tearing up yet. No, neither player, I don't think, has the resources or time to tier up, but let's see here. Nope. Okay. So Stormrunner's going to kind of stop the bleeding a little bit here, start to capture some objectives. Just kind of move through and start to pressure up a little bit, but again, I don't know that I would necessarily be sending these Kyric Acolytes up here. It is a little bit tricky scouting sometimes in this game because there's not... Like, I feel like units have relatively short line of sight, and, yeah. Like, there's some units which have ranged abilities which can, like, reveal an area, but it can be a little bit tricky sometimes to know what's inside the fog of war. But Stormrunner finally going to get a little bit of objective capture here. And, yeah, we see him get a little bolt of Realmstone there as he does so. But Nakamura's also got a couple of Realmstone production buildings up, so he's going to be absolutely crushing it on the resources. Neither of them have built a command outpost yet, which I find interesting. In my experience playing this game, I typically get command locked trying to produce more units. So I've experimented with building some of the command outposts, and it's done okay for me, but I don't know. Maybe these guys know this Realmstone way is better. But let's see here. We've got some Kyric Acolytes kind of disrupting this backline a little bit here. Tzeentch Caster going to throw some AoE abilities. Just trying to trade out, I guess. A little bit of a bombardment gets interrupted there by Aiden. But, yeah, the Magister just going to kind of maneuver a little bit here. Some healing from Aiden should be able to keep those units all topped up without taking any losses. But basically, Stormrunner's just using it as a distraction while his units run around the battlefield and just spread out, try and cap some of these objectives, make sure he gets some battlefield control back. So some decent stuff from Stormrunner trying to stay in this game. He's managed to get a decent triple cap Nakamura's also fairly well spread out. No, his main force is kind of bodying up here. Okay, so decent amount of units. Still both players only tier 1. But it looks like Nakamura is tiering up. Let's see, Stormrunner here. Yeah, not tiering up yet. Definitely does not have the resources quite yet. Nakamura's got a lot of command to spend, so we could see some good units coming out on this tier 2. Let's see, production-wise, nothing right now, but let's see. Yeah, his army, small army, but it is still an army. He's going to try and push up here while he throws around some of these other units to kind of harass. Let's check from Stormrunner's perspective. He's got units scattered all over the place here. Not sure where his micro is exactly, but should pull back his units to try and recontest this Realm Stone so he doesn't lose it, but we'll see. Horrors are just going to take a few pot shots here and likely finish that guy off. We'll see, maybe not. Liberators have quite a bit of defense. They're quite a tanky unit, but can't lose any resource buildings versus Stormcasts. Yeah, losing this one's definitely going to be pretty painful, but Stormrunner's gonna try and make a game of it at least. But with Nakamura being a tier up and Stormrunner not really having the resources, being a little bit resource locked. Oh no, he is tiering up also. Okay, so a little bit behind on the pace, but still nice. Gonna see some evocators coming out. So these guys have a nice aura. They're also sort of a defense type unit, but yeah, it grants shield, armor, movement speed, and also damage over time to enemies. So quite a powerful ability, honestly. And let's see, could also get the Ballista, which is not spectacular, I don't think, in this matchup, but Prosecutors potentially to dive ranged units, although they are pretty expensive. A lot of the Stormcast stuff is expensive, to be honest, but it's all good. Let's see here. Okay. Plus 13 on 100%. You mean the command building, Quentin. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I've heard a lot, and this is one of the things I love about this game, like at least about the launch, is the discussion of like, should you build resource buildings or not? I've heard different things from different people, and this is one of the reasons why I like hosting tournaments, is because people can test in competitive situations and see who is correct. A lot of that, you know, there's other factors like micro and other things, but man, Nakamura's got a very scary army put together here. He's got, yeah, what, 3 evocators here, still a couple of Vanguard Raptors, a bunch of Liberators, so that is a absolute just brick sled. Just nasty, nasty. Meanwhile, Stormrunner's also kind of pressuring on the side here, just taking out this Realmstone production building, and it's got some units scattered around for some visibility. But Nakamura, he might just stomp in the base and finish Stormrunner off, like, honestly, with how big of an army this is in comparison. Stormrunner's not even pop-capped necessarily, so he's starting to get some Zangors out. Interesting. Again, I'm not familiar enough with the matchups to know which units are absolutely optimal, but yeah. Yeah, Nakamura's just going for the throat here because, of course, attacking your opponent's main base, for those of you guys new, will also drain your opponent's tickets. So if you watch the Stormrunner's tickets here, as the base starts to take damage, you'll see it will tick down a little bit, but let's see if Stormrunner's going to come running back. Yeah, his army, what's there of it at least? Looks like he's going to leave some units kind of staying out there. I don't know, I'd probably bring the whole bridge at this point, but Stormrunner's very quickly losing tickets, and Flamer's going to jump in the back line there and go in melee. Interesting. Very interesting. Some Kyrok Acolytes coming in here. Is it going to be enough, though? I don't know. I think Nakamura's got enough of a force here that he can just wreck the base. Whole base worth of tickets. It's a lot of Stormcasts. It is a thick Stormcast army. Here come Kyric Acolytes, a lot of Acolytes, a few Horrors. Got some Screamers coming out also. They're going to momentarily kind of interrupt and slow the draining of tickets based on the base, but... yeah, Nakamura also at the same time uses his leftover units to come in and cap all 3 objectives, so it's looking like Nakamura's got this absolutely on lock. I mean, I say it's looking like. He's definitely got it on lock. So just enjoy some of the cinematics here. Wonder, there's got to be a way to, like, turn off the UI elements, right? So I can just go true cinematic mode, but probably look that up at some point. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't get to see the kind of post-match breakdown when I'm a spectator, which again, another kind of minor thing as a caster that they could update. There's a few things, like me being able to see the post-battle screen. On the post-battle screen itself, it should also show buildings, like the fact that it doesn't show buildings in a build order, like it shows the units, which obviously is very relevant and useful, but it'd be good to know also when people are choosing to put buildings up and kind of how that affects things also. You can kind of try and guesstimate based on, you know, like income generation if you can see the screen, but anyway. Yeah, it's good. Again, I haven't played Dawn of War a lot, so I'm not the right person to make that determination, Red Salamander, but that's what people have said. Yes, that's what people have told me, so... fun one. Good games. Cool, cool, cool. So... cool. So let me get these next players lined up, and we'll go on. So... Nakamura is going to advance on to the finals, and we're going to have Koaladuck versus Saturus. Yeah, need Realm Stone to upgrade tiers and abilities. Night Haunts needs command building to support army and get Realm Stone building. Yeah, and I like Rule Boys too. I'd be curious to get your opinion on this. I feel like in certain matchups, if you're trying to play wider with Cruel Boys, building the command building can also be useful for them. I feel like a lot of the Cruel Boys, like you end up doing a lot of charges too, like especially if you're microing your grots a lot. Like in games, I don't know. Again, I haven't had a lot of games as the Cruel Boys, but it feels like they might also be a faction where you would want to build a command building potentially, but if you lose resource building, don't destroy enemy one pretty much behind all game. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, the resource generation it's a super interesting part of this game, and I'm curious to see what kind of emerges as the most optimal way. And again, my guess is it would change based on the faction you're playing and the matchup you're playing, and maybe even the map you're playing too. Like if you're playing a smaller map where units are going to be constantly fighting and dying, there's a chance you might want to go with a command outpost just so you can keep the unit production up. Maybe one command, one realm stone. Hard to say, but on certain maps too, I feel like it's super useful to build the what I've been calling the hospital, right? For the like healing, plus it gives you an extra production slot. Like on certain maps where there might be, you know, one outpost in between a couple of victory objectives. In my experience, again, I'm not like a pro or anything, but it's nice to build the hospital building there so your units can kind of get some healing as they transition between objectives, and you can use that as sort of a forward base for your units to try and hold a larger area without having to retreat all the way back to your main base, especially on larger maps. Yeah, you need Realm Stone. Okay. Makes sense. Yeah, it's also... Tzeentch is also one where I feel like you need Realm Stone because they have a lot of abilities, like AoE abilities and different stuff you gotta be using, but... That's fun. Just waiting for these guys to get, posted. And let's see here. Oh, wait, I think I can... There we go. Cool, cool, cool. Okay. Getting the faction picks. So Nighthaunts is definitely the most, like, horde-focused faction. Just by default, they get, like, +2 population cap, and then all of their buildings allow you to build more units at a time, essentially. Like all their outpost structures, whereas other factions have to build a specific outpost structure to be able to build more units at a time. Yeah. Yeah, different enough to where it's noticeable. Cruel Boys, interestingly enough, sort of coming from a Total War Warhammer perspective for me, Cruel Boys seem sort of the most combined arms in a way. They have the strongest artillery, which is hilariously strong if you can get into it and get it set up. They have pretty decent monsters and really good heroes and hero abilities, which again you have to manage. And they have all of the basic unit types on their tier 1 roster. So, yes, it's, I like the faction variety. Stormcasts are, like, very defensive. Their units are a little more expensive, but individually pretty strong. And then Tzeentch, again, like I said, lots of magic, AoE abilities, very strong ranged units. Horrors at tier 1 can be insane if you can get a lot of them in a big mass. Flamers are also ridiculously strong at range in my experience. Yeah, just overall, all the factions have pretty fun, unique identities, and I really hope they add more, too, because Age of Sigmar, I will say, especially now, like now that it has a few years, a few iterations to kind of develop, there's a lot of really cool, unique factions that are distinct from Warhammer Fantasy that, in my opinion, should be the priority to add, because, I mean, you have, like, you know, like the Ideneth Deepkin, right, are fairly unique. You have, the different sub-factions. Cruel Boys is one, but there's the other kind of greenskin sub-factions, right? There's the Gloomspite Gits, and you've got the... I forget the name of, like, the more traditional, like, big buff orcs. Yeah, I mean... There's a lot of good stuff they could add, for sure. Some of the Chaos stuff for Age of Sigmar is super cool, too, and updated compared to what we've got in Warhammer Fantasy in many ways. Excuse me. Let's see. Okay. It's going to be Nighthaunts versus Cruel Boys. Should be good. See how the Cruel Boys can do against the Foul Ghosts. Iron Jaws, that's right. That's the one I was thinking of. Oh yeah, the Wood Elf Forest Spirits is like a whole faction on its own, pretty much, right? Sylvaneth, I believe. Hedonites. There's a lot of cool stuff. Lots and lots of cool stuff. You have, like, the kind of ogre factions, too. You know, Beastmen. It's true of a lot of the factions. I mean, you have, like, the Slayer faction, right? You have, like, the Dwarfen Air Force faction. Like, the Gyrocopter faction, basically, right? You have a lot of that stuff you could put into fantasy, and it would work perfectly fine. But a lot of it has been, like, just in terms of the models and the art has been updated quite a bit since Old Fantasy, and for me, feels pretty distinct. But especially, like, Ideneth, honestly, as much as I'm, not a fan of elves in many ways, Ideneth are pretty cool. I have to admit, Ideneth are actually very cool, so I'd hope for them. The Flesh Eater core, too, again, it's like the Strigoi faction, but they've developed it a lot, and some of the art and, yeah, just looks amazing. Love the Cruel Boys, too. I'm very happy that they're here. Look at that lad. You could stick that guy in, like, one of the Mordor games, whatever it's called. Shadows of Mordor, that's it. You could stick that guy in Shadows of Mordor and no one would bat an eye, honestly. It would fit in perfectly. Yes, I agree, Spellbound. It gives like more space to develop those kind of smaller ideas, and we get more greater variety of more smaller focus factions, which, from a game's perspective might mean that things are a little bit easier to add. Like, certainly it's, 9 units is a lot easier to add than, like, a Warhammer roster is like 20, so looks like we've got an early clash over here on objective number 2. Has some Chain Rasps come in. Ooh, I love this Red Boys color scheme. Look at this. From Koala Duck. The red skin. I can't say that. Can't say that anymore. But anyway. But yeah, they are the Red Boys. Red Cruel Boys. Like the Fell Orcs from Warhammer, honestly. Oof, this Lord Gloam, though, ripped apart one gut rippers. This other one's going to come through here. Are these Craven Throne guards red, too? Is just the red-on-red battle here? Both players going with a red-focused color scheme? I mean, I get it. I definitely get it, but, interesting. Let's see here. Let's see, from a macro perspective, both players are just trying to cap up their armies. Qualiduck's not quite there yet, but Saturus also has one just in the tank ready to go. Yeah, looks like it's about to come out now, so looks like Qualiduck's just now getting his next Gut Ripper out. So let's see here. The issue is that locally, Saturus has a lot more stuff here, right? And a lot of it's even out of range of what Qualiduck can see, but he is going to get outnumbered fairly heavily here and start to get pressured, so let's see what he can come up with. Yeah, probably wants to fall back and regroup already, honestly, and just try and go for a little bit of a later push, but yeah, that's going to be pain. Immediate pain for the Cruel Boys, especially as poor Dankfear just gets into combat there. No need to worry about those boys no more. Fell Orcs from Warhammer, or from Warcraft rather. This game have good casting tools? It's decent. It's definitely better than Total War Warhammer, which is saying it's basically better than nothing, but yes. Seems to be alright. We did have one crash in spectator mode early on in the tournament, but haven't had any since then, so knock on wood. Hopefully that was just a random fluke and they can get that worked out, but so far it's been pretty good. Oh, we got Chain Rasps inbound. They're getting a nice charge. They're going to stun those Man Skewers. I don't know if you even necessarily need to charge there, but hey, you might as well. It just sends a message. Qualiduck's gonna retreat those guys, move in with some of his Gut Rippers, the Shield Boys, get them on those Raven Thrones. So this is pretty decent. I mean, he's getting a couple of decent engagements here, but already Chain Rasps and the Craven Thrones closing in, and Saturus lurking quite nicely. Let's see, resource-wise, Still waiting on Realm Stone. Neither of them have any Realm Stone production active. And no one's putting any buildings up yet, so we'll see. Now just kind of trading on tier 1. And Qualiduck trying to keep his unit production up, so he's a little bit command locked, but actually resource-wise, he's in almost a better position, almost in a position to go up to tier 2. But the Realm Stone is going to have to capture some objectives or, you know, kind of make something happen to get some more Realm Stone, but it does force the Nighthawns to pull back at least a little bit. Sort of reorganize, regroup, get their units back together, heal up a bit. But Qualiduck only has 3 units actually on the field right now. He's got another in queue. And let's see if he chooses to bring in some more units. Kind of surprised at how micro-heavy the game is. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of abilities. Basically, all units can have abilities. So you definitely need to be cycling through them and using them. Also, the fact that once a unit is in melee combat, it's locked in melee combat unless you manually retreat them like that. It does mean that you need to stay on top of your positioning, and you can't let units get caught up, or they'll just die. Ranged units or whatever else, and it can be a little bit hard to avoid taking unfavorable engagements, especially because, again, the visibility distance for most units is not very far at all. So there's definitely things to be aware of. Yeah, it seems easy to pick up, and it's certainly a game that anyone can learn, but it's definitely a game that's tricky to play at a high level, I think. So there's a lot going on. Yeah, it looks like Qualiduck's going to throw in the towel already there. Not surprising. But, yeah, that's Night for you. Spooky Ghosts, very oppressive. You have to survive the early rush, and Cruel Boys are also... I mean, they have some decent units, tier 1, like a good variety. Individually, the strength is not incredible, and especially when they're getting outnumbered by Night Haunts. It's interesting. Yeah, the melee lock mechanic is something that takes some getting used to. I still don't know if I completely love it, but at the same time, like, I guess it's more true to the tabletop Age of Sigmar, but... Well, you got them out of the way early, Qualiduck, so now you can, you know, not have to fight them. You just gotta win the next 2, and then you can take the series. You still got Tzeentch and Nighthaunts yourself to play, right? So... Yes, there's something that makes the retreat ability go on cooldown, and I haven't exactly figured out what it is. Maybe one of you guys knows. Yeah, there's a cooldown, and I don't know what causes the cooldown itself, but okay, so it looks like it's going to be Stormcast versus Nighthaunts. And the map is Reclaim. Oh, I forgot about my coffee. Got some nice coffee this morning. The unit is fresh into melee. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. So basically, your unit needs to survive long enough to retreat, right? If they get bursted down too quickly, they'll just die. Once the unit becomes unstoppable, they should have no trouble retreating. Yes, unless there happens to be, you know, if you're, again, like with my poor micro, you wait too long to tell them to retreat, and then your enemy has a bunch of ranged units, and then as they're retreating, they get shot and die. Happens to be too much, honestly, but yes, once they get that unstoppable trait, that basically unstoppable means they can't be slowed or snared. There's a few other abilities that also give unstoppable in more of a like offensive kind of way, where you can use it to like get through or get past, because there are some slows and nets as well, like hard snares in this ability. So, or in this game rather. So yeah, it's a useful modifier to watch out for, definitely. It's also interesting to think about, like, for certain factions, especially for your tier 1 units, like, is it more worth it to retreat them, or should you just leave them to die? Because if your unit's cheap enough, you know, retreating them is 25 to 30% of the cost of the unit to begin with. And like Tzeentch horrors, for example, can't even heal if their pink has died and transitioned into a blue. Like if they've taken a certain amount of HP damage, then they can't heal, right? So that's a unit that you might as well just leave them in until they're dead, pretty much. There's not a lot of point to retreating them. But anyway, let me go ahead and rejoin here. I'm just waxing poetic about the game while I'm not actually in. Wind Blades of Corn. Comes their main feature, should be preventing enemies from retreating. That'd be cool. Whenever a unit dies, the player that kills them gets 20 command, I believe. Okay, so that changes the math a little bit then, if you should retreat a unit or not, since that makes it like a larger swing, right? If you potentially don't retreat them, the overall cost is greater to a degree. But even still, you know, it's, yeah, especially, like, if you have a big army that's fighting and you're trying to retreat multiple units at the same time, the cost can add up pretty quickly, so sometimes you have to make a decision. It's like, okay, I don't necessarily want to retreat my low-tier units, I'll retreat my expensive stuff, maybe leave the low-tier stuff to kind of sacrifice itself since it's cheaper enough to resummon, you know, knowing that. That's interesting, though, that you get a little command reward. This is, again, things that, like, I notice that I'm getting extra command, but it's hard to tell in the heat of the battle exactly where it's coming from sometimes. But, yeah, it's one of the reasons why, like, some people say probably shouldn't even build so many resource buildings, just because you do get command from fighting as long as you're winning and finishing off units at least. But against a really skilled player, might be a little bit tricky to actually finish the units off, especially if you don't have a lot of ranged component in your army. Yeah. Rampage mechanic, would love that, definitely. So, okay. Yeah, I hope they didn't start without me. uh, Yeah, let's see. I'm not getting a response from them. So, let's see. Give me just a second, guys. I'll be right back.
We haven't seen a
Okay, so it looks like they did actually start without me. So, yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and just do this here. Yeah, we'll just do this because they. I was just sitting here chatting with you guys and not paying attention, so they actually just started without me. So we're gonna do this. We're gonna look at Nakamura's lovely face as we kind of spectate him, spectating the game because they definitely started without me. So let me just go ahead and we'll leave the music playing, a little bit epic as they're also playing here. But yeah, it looks like both players pretty even so far, but Saturus taking a slight lead there with the Stormcast, getting a triple cap, looks like. That's kind of hilarious. They just started without me. Yeah, so, anyway. But looks like Qualduck's starting to push back. He's not quite pop-capped yet, but they're both up to Tier 2 already. Man, I'm missing a great game. Can't believe these guys just starting without me. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, looks like Saturus is pressuring very heavily, and that was a really nice airstrike right there to be able to kind of win that fight. Qualduck's doing okay on resources, but he's having a hard time getting his population efficiency up. I wonder if he maybe teched up a little bit too early, perhaps. It doesn't look like his command generation is really on point. Like, he doesn't have a command building necessarily, so you guys will have to let me know. Do you think it's more worth it as Nihons to actually get a command outpost early before you go to Tier 2? Or would you tier up before getting a command outpost? It's a good question, you know? It's a big question to kind of ask ourselves. We watch this play out here. Qualiduck trying to amass his forces as best he can. He is producing units pretty quickly, but again, an outpost not only providing command but also allowing you to resummon in more units at a time allows you to keep up that flow of ghosts, right? So right now he does not have the command to spend on it, but it looks like he's got a Hex Wraith out. It's going to be charging in, getting on those range units. Saturus bringing more of his forces to bear. Ooh, will that charge in the back line? Yep, gonna get on those chain rasps. A nice, decisive hit there. Stuns both units and should be able to take them out, but the Sigmarites are not trading great in the front line right now. Well, actually, yeah, with that healing, they're doing much, much better. And able to kind of stand against the tide. But even still, the hero there taking some very significant damage. Let's see if he'll be able to get out. Looks like a nice buff from... Oof, big AoE hit, just takes out multiple units there. And Vexlor, I believe is what he's called, right? Is able to escape. So, yeah, I'm just like chilling here with you guys for like 10 minutes while they're actually starting. But anyway, I got some kinks to work out on streaming today, guys. It's been a while, but yeah, Qualiduck, again, still behind on population, which is really never where you want to be. From Nighthaunts to Stormcast. Stormcast units individually are much stronger and just overall going to be more population efficient. So, yeah, Qualiduck definitely in a tricky situation here, but looks like he's going to try and fight back and just pick off some isolated units where he can, which is a good way for him to kind of equalize this value a little bit here. As long as he has some range too. Yep, Saturus, oof, no problem pulling those units back. Uses the crossbow bombardment ability, which you do have to tech into. It's quite a nice one. Uses it to bombard those chain rasps there and just get them off the field. So yeah, Qualiduck, I think not building an early resource building is really affecting him pretty badly here. Yeah, we see he's command locked and not able to produce enough units. Well, not necessarily command locked, but just, yeah, not able to produce enough units in general. And as a result, having a hard time keeping up battlefield control, which again, it's sort of the strength of Nighthaunts. So if you're falling behind in that category, it's definitely not an ideal situation for you. But, trying to get some resource back, trying to get some, units amassed. You can see he's kind of bringing in some more units there. Honestly, probably would just hang around there and try and unify some larger forces, but Saturus has his units kind of spread out in a position to cover all the objectives, which is quite nice. And here we go. Looks like some shots raining in. Nice charge there in the defensive units in the front line, but they're going to come back and trade super hard. And then, yeah, the Craven Thrones in the back, no problem getting shut down by the, I forget those guys. Retributors? No, I don't think that's right. But it does look like he gets the cap on the objective, and yeah, Qualiduck's pretty much finished at this point on victory tickets. It's taken him a little bit too long. Yeah, like I said, probably teched up a little bit too early, honestly. Needed that extra command outpost. But anyway, that's all good. We'll switch that back over here. And let's transition this back over here. So, Saturus is going to prevail. So we'll have Nakamura versus Saturus in the final. Let me get the scoreboard updated as such. Just completely forgot to update it on the last round, but that's okay. Excellent. Okay, but we're up for the final. And let's see here. Satoris versus Nakamura. And we'll let them get the lobby launched up. Let's see here. Excellent. Are head OP this time? You know what, Coops? It turns out that they probably are. You know, some things never change. No, Night Haunts are good. Yeah, you want to leverage those early numbers advantage for sure. And like especially like I said earlier in the stream, they seem to be the easiest faction to pick up. Like I do think people will figure out ways of beating them. And high armor, like we saw there, seems to be a pretty good defense. Just the Night Haunts units just aren't able to really do enough damage. So potentially Stormcasts are a good to pick against them, but yeah, all the factions, if you play them well, I think are pretty strong. Like right now, again, Night Haunts on the face of it seem to be probably the strongest, or at least the easiest to play at a high level. The other factions, I think, will take a little bit more learning and kind of figuring out what's optimal way to do things, and especially, I think it is going to be matchup specific, like what units you want to tech into and kind of which way you want to go. Also depends on how your opponent is playing, right? Kind of how they're contesting things, so yeah, there's a lot of variety, even with just a few factions that there are, but I've already found things to not like about Night Haunts, which is, again, not surprising. I am a famous undead hater. Okay, let's get in here. Let's see here. Cruel Boys have the weakest tier 1, but get very good at tier 2. Yes, I agree. Cruel Boys is probably the one you want to tier up the fastest if you can. Just go fast tier 2, so you can get the ballistas. And then basically, the way I've played it a little bit, at least, is like get to tier 2 as quick as possible, build some ballistas, and then build a bunch of chaff, and then basically like have the chaff scout and fight way forward so that like your ballista's literally not even within visibility range of them, and then it can just shoot in long range and just constantly just destroy units. And they have to like allocate significant resources to scout it out first of all, and then also to go kill it, and you know, hopefully you'll have units to respond to that if they do, but it's interesting. Oh yeah, of course. We're gonna have a Night Haunts mirror for round 1. Which is, yeah, that kind of tells you other players' thoughts on the faction balance as well, that they're both opening with Night Haunts, so... Yep. That's it. That's what we got, so... Ghosts on ghosts. You know, I might have said some nice things about Vampire Coast lately, and, you know, I even did a Vampire Coast-themed video for Age of Wonders, so... Yeah, it might have been, you know, lessened recently, but... Yes, Night Haunts Mirror. Let's see how this goes. Okay, so... Both players immediately gonna be queuing units. Tourist queues too, actually. Just right out the gates. Yeah, I haven't really messed around with the Cruel Boys crossbows ambush mechanic. Can't disagree with being an undead hater. Well, you're in the right place then. Absolutely in the right place. So, let's see here. Yeah, looks like Saturas just going to send his Lord Gloam straight through to the enemy kind of side here and try and cap that objective as he starts to macro his other units onto these other objectives here, get that little bit of Realm Stone ticked up. Very important to get those early captures and, you know, pressuring on the opponent's side even. Let's see, looks like Nakamura's going to spot him. Gloam is going to get in there on the Craven Throne Guard. Hey, Isaiah, how's it going? Good to see you. They're one of the good ones, right? Well, they have guns, so of course. You know, if it's a zombie, it's a no for me. But if it's a zombie with a gun, it automatically becomes a yes. Looks like it will be a good match. Yeah, I think so. We're going to see Nakamura's Lord Gloam also come a bit forward here and actually get on the victory objective. He's basically taking no damage from these chain rasps. Oh, there we go. Takes at least one volley from the Craven Thrones. Just so good as a tier 1 ranged unit. They're probably the best tier 1 ranged unit. I don't know. Horrors are also very good. We haven't really seen too many of them today, but let's see here. Yeah, Saturas keeping up the pressure. Nakamura pulling back a little bit here, but is amassing a pretty serious force. Did he build an income building yet? No, just a little bit behind on the Realm Stone due to not capping as many objectives. But let's see here. Yes. Saturas sends in single chain rasp just for scouting and then immediately retreats them. Very interesting. Definitely has command to give. Neither player wanting to let any units die here and give up command, but we're about to have a big old engagement play out here. Oh, look at the burst from all those Craven Thrones. Oh man, wow, Lord Gloam just gets sniped super hard for Saturas. And it's going to cost Nakamura here. He's probably going to lose a couple of those Craven Throne guards, but value trade-wise, I mean, it's fairly solid trade. This Gloam's just kind of chilling over here, but let's see if he... Ooh, he's going to use that ability there to try and break up a little bit of the shield and then get into combat and actually do some damage. So yeah, Taurus getting traded out a little bit there. Nakamura gets some nice value on some kills, able to get a little bit of tempo and map control. But this little sneaky chain rasp here in the back line. It's nice that we do have some color variations here too. It's, you know, Team Red versus Team Ghost, I guess. I don't know, like generic Ghost colors. But like Cruel Boys, but it feels like you need to do a lot more work to get stuff done. Yeah, like I said, they're the most combined arms faction where you really need things working in sync and staying on top of your abilities. And oh, about to get a Gloam on Gloam fight. Let's go. Come on, Gloam duel. Yes. No, don't interrupt. Rude. Very rude. Unbelievably rude. Wow, those Craven Thrones too. Pretty long range. You could probably honestly just set them up on this cliff here. And in fact, speaking of Cruel Boys, maps like this are my favorite with Cruel Boys because you can set a ballista up on this hilltop and it can cover a pretty huge area. And, you know, can set one on this objective, you can set one on this objective. Yeah, like right here. So, makes using those units quite good on maps like this if you can get to them. That's the key with Cruel Boys, right? You gotta tech up quick. Night Haunt heroes are pretty squishy. Yes, they are. They can get sniped in a big hurry. It's a nice engagement playing out here. Nakamura takes some losses, but then counterattacks into Craven Thrones. Gonna get a nice charge there, stun that unit so they can't retreat, so they're out. It's important to get finishing blows on units as much as possible. But then Gloam, Blue Gloam, let's call him, or Red Gloam rather. Why are the other ones not red? That's kind of confusing. Anyway. Yeah, Red Gloam there getting a nice flank attack, gets a nice AoE attack, and suddenly Nakamura's again on the back foot, getting pushed back a little bit here. Retreats those units. It's got some Craven Thrones to kind of cover their retreat to a degree. But overall, getting pressured pretty heavily. Both players still just on tier 1, I would imagine. Although Nakamura does have enough to build a Realmstone income building, which he probably should. He's been getting a lot of command for kills. But, ooh, is this... Oh, Craven Throne might be gone. Yeah, they're going to retreat. And Nakamura not losing too many units. Lots of command. Again, I'd love to see like a Realmstone building like right here or right here. This one's probably the best because it's 100% capped, but... Got a lot of command right now to spend. Not quite enough to go up to tier 2. Saturas actually does have enough Realmstone to go to tier 2. Has not done so yet. So, let's see here. Nakamura gonna grab that objective, grab this objective. These guys are basically neck and neck in terms of victory points, so very evenly matched players here. Should be a great series. Ah, delicious coffee. Anyway, let's see here. Yeah, I'm surprised. Nakamura is just literally going all Craven Throne guards. Look at this. He doesn't have any chain rasps. He's just teching pure ranged right now, which is, I guess, the way to go here. I mean, why even bother with the chain rasps, right? If they're just gonna die to the ranged units, just accrue a critical mass of firepower and just burst them down before they even get to you. Definitely seems quite strong. And Blue Gloam here. Tapping this objective. I get a little, again, jolt of Realmstone. We did see a Realmstone tower go up here. And also tech up. Okay, so he did manage to get enough Realmstone to tech up then, based on some of those captures. Let's check out Saturas. Not teching up yet, but does have the resources to do so. So expect that to get clicked up pretty soon. Even if you don't necessarily end up taking advantage of a lot of the upper tier units in a fight like this, definitely just even to have the population cap of teching up, it's totally worth it. So yep, looks like he did take that. Both players going to tier 2 now. And Nakamura pulling back his mass of Craven Throne guards. So many crossbows, yeah, so many. Really quite impressive, honestly. But Gloam also pulling back, so Nakamura getting his army ready. It's going to have a lot of units. Nice, sweet healing. He is up to tier 2, and more Craven Throne guards. Oh, looks like we are going to get a single Banshee now. That's fantastic. Could get a Guardian of Souls as well. Looks like just 2 Banshees for now. And Saturas also 1 Realmstone building up to tier 2. Also grabbing some Banshees. Okay, so not only a mirror in matchup, but also mirror pretty much in terms of builds right now. Nakamura's got a slight advantage. Looks like the Banshees are going to come forward and try and scout. Banshees are pretty strong. They've got decent armor, and they don't take too much damage. They can also silence. Grounds flying enemies. Wow, really nice. Non-melee damage taken by allies. Okay. So, just overall, very nice spell. And the Banshee's going to come through to kind of scout, try and draw some units away. But here comes Saturas. Well, Nakamura pressuring Saturas lines here. Getting his units forward, trying to keep Lord Gloam alive and out of combat for the most part. But here come the Banshees. Some Banshee on Banshee action here. Ooh, they can actually fly up in the air. That's fancy. They're going to come down right in the middle of this absolute blob of Craven Thrones. And yeah, the one Banshee getting focused very heavily is not able to escape. A little bit too late on the pullout there. And they get blasted. But then the Banshee also for Nakamura is getting creamed likewise. Oh, interesting. If I spacebar, it takes me to the home objective. That's interesting. Yeah, so Nakamura pulling back his massive blob. Doesn't want to go too hard, but oh no, there's this random chain rasp that's suddenly here, and it's going to get fully surrounded, just immediately runs. Yeah, probably smart to just get out of that situation. One Banshee does survive from the one unit, and then this other unit over here that had been just capturing the objective and kind of pressuring manages to get back. Saturis doing a good job so far. Managing things. He's got a little bit of a lead on victory tickets, but yeah, Nakamura's army is large but relatively low tier, whereas Saturis is in a very similar build, honestly, just a little bit more spread out. And he does have some chain rasps, a couple of them at least, for charging the back line. 70 Realmstone, pretty cheap, or pretty steep for Banshees, though. Crossbows. Oh, Romulan. That was... Yep, that was the thing. The audio peaked right when you said pull out. Maybe it's intentional. Maybe it's not. Who knows? Oh yeah, here comes Nakamura's main body of his army is going to move in. Saturis, though, has plenty of response forces in the general area. He can kind of pull in, try and fight here. But let's see. Saturis is able to control the objectives pretty successfully. And it's kind of keeping Nakamura right now a little bit consistently behind. But let's see, are we going to see a tier 3 perhaps from Nakamura? Doesn't have the Realm Stone right now, but he does have enough command. It would take quite a bit of Realm Stone, but he's going to get some more from some of these captures he's about to throw down. Oof, Banshee getting gatted right there. Absolutely blasted, but big engagement playing out here. Banshee's getting caught by Banshees. The other unit manages to make it around, but oh, we've got a Hex Wraith coming in now. These nice cavalry using their mobility to try and get on these ranged units. Yep, eventually. Some more of Nakamura's forces regenerating and coming on back, but he's going to have to be careful not to lose too much here. Both players kind of trying their best to keep units alive and just retreat them relatively conservatively. Yep, oof. Yeah, they decide to retreat in the opposite direction. That's one thing. You can't really control where your units are retreating to. And she does manage to get away with enough of its HP. But, yeah, it's looking like a tricky situation for sure. Still no upgrades there, just the regular resource building. And, I don't know, I'm not sure how Nakamura's going to wrest control of these victory objectives from Saturis. He looks to be in a very commanding position. X-ray charge can go through units. Yes, I did notice that. You can hit multiple units with it and, like, pop out on the other side and then run away, which is kind of hilarious. Or, you know, obviously attack. But, X-rays are a pretty decent unit overall. Ihons in general are quite good, but... Let's see here. Nakamura able to just sneak one objective at the very least with that one Banshee, bringing his full army to bear. Saturis is a little bit spread out in various areas, but it looks like he's going to bring the Hex Wraiths around. There are Hex Wraiths for Nakamura also. Are they going to get the charge in? Oh no, they get caught by the opponent's Hex Wraiths. Almost a disaster. Meanwhile, the Banshees are able to get in, and we do see the remaining Chain Rasps. The true heroes. Whoops. Got about that. Accidentally bumped the spacebar, but okay, so the Chain Rasps do also manage to get in there and kind of disrupt and prevent those units from firing. So right now, Saturis, I think, is probably getting the better end of this engagement. Maybe. I don't know. He just had to pull back his own Craven Thrones, and we see the Banshee also pull back there. We see the Hex Wraith pull back. Oof. That Banshee just barely goes down, so actually, I think Nakamura ends up winning that fight. Wow. Yeah, Saturis is forced to pull back with all of his units. Meanwhile, Gloam seizing this objective by himself. Will he be able to get it done? Oh, it just barely doesn't quite cap it. But momentarily, once all the Craven Thrones arrive, they should be able to get back at it. Let's take a look at So tourist side here, reorganizing. He's still got a pretty hefty army, and the Craven Throne's now healed back up. Should be able to fight, but oof, we're going to see a big old engagement here. These Craven Throne's a little bit far forward. Let's see, I think they just had an attack move, probably. Yeah, just trying to go after that Realmstone building. We're going to get a big old fight developing because of it. One Craven Throne just gets bursted super fast, and Nakamura is forced to pull back. Looks like he does have enough to go up. Or is just barely short on Realmstone. Yeah, literally 5 more Realmstone, and Nakamura can go up to tier 3. Let's see if he does so. Would be a good way to try and hold some control here, is to get maybe a tier up in terms of units, but at the same time, it's probably most important to just maintain numbers so you can keep control, but oof, oh, ow, ooh, those Craven Thrones, oh man. That critical mass of them is just, it's insanely strong. Very, very tough to get away from. And Nakamura loses a few units there, puts him a little bit behind. That is painful. Also gives Satoris some nice command. But, did he go up? Nope. Just used all of his command on summoning units. And trying to hold at least some semblance of objective control. But I think Satoris there, with that counterattack, probably just won it. Managed to keep enough of his units alive, put together a critical mass, and I just don't think Nakamura necessarily has time to come back, try and cap these objectives, so Desire to Pit of Shades intensifies, yes, if only. There are some, probably Tzeentch, I would say, has the strongest just straight up AoE damage abilities, but yeah, these two players seem to be pretty evenly matched. Satoris did say he's a Nighthaunt main, and pretty much plays only Nighthaunts primarily, so I would expect he probably has a slight advantage in this matchup, and then we'll see in the next game. Nakamura might have a slight advantage there, depending on the faction picks and so forth, but yeah, just get Nighthaunts out of the way in a mirror early, so then we can see some of the matchups. I am a fan. What factions would you like to see added? I've talked a little bit about this already, but Idoneth Deepkin is a big one for me. Yeah, they're probably the number one, honestly. I would like to see Cities of Sigmar, too, for Order. Just because that's like a cool mix of different stuff. And, of course, has, you know, gunpowder and such. Yep, looks like Nakamura is going to throw in the towel there, so Satoris goes up 1-0 on the series. And let's see how the next one goes. We'll let them kind of analyze their post-game for just a moment. And let's see, actually, can I just... Oh, lobby closed, so wait for them to rehost. Hope dwarfs never get added. I would be fine with the Slayer faction. The Balloon Dwarfs would be tricky because I'm not sure how they would add the Balloon Dwarfs. The Blimp Dwarfs, although they are very cool too. That could be a little bit tricky in this game. I don't know how they would execute some of the units, but I would be fine with the Slayer faction. Yeah, AOS doesn't have Chaos Dwarfs. Yeah. At least not yet. But, yeah, I would like the Slayers added, personally. I think that'd be a fun addition. Because Slayers are the coolest part of Dwarfs anyway, right? Like, we can all agree. So... Caradron Overlords, yes, those are the Blimp Dwarfs. They are very cool, but they have, like, transport blimps and stuff, right? And, like, I don't know, just an all-flying faction in this particular game. I guess they have some ground units, but... I'm just not sure how that would work in the balance. Like, they could probably make it work, but I think there's other factions that would make a lot more sense and be easier to add, so... Yeah, Fire Slayers, I think, are probably the much more likely addition when it comes to dwarf factions, but... Yes. They'd be very strong ranged, for sure. But anyway... Okay, so we'll go ahead and join. Excellent. Oh yeah, there's the Skaven, of course, Seraphon, you know, classic Warhammer factions could also be added, and would definitely be cool additions for sure. I'd never be opposed to either Skaven or Lizardmen, you know, those are pretty iconic Warhammer things, so again, I'm 100% fine with them. Any of the other Chaos, and the way that they've added, at least at the start of the game, there's one for each Grand Alliance. I don't know the future plans for DLC or updates, if they're going to do, like, I think it'd be cool in each DLC to do an extra one for each Grand Alliance, so like first DLC, for example, maybe Cities of Sigmar, like Flesh Eater cores, maybe the... is it the Brides of Cain or something? Like the Witch Elf faction, basically, for destruction, and then maybe, you know, Khorne or Chaos, or whatever, you know, Chaos sub-faction you'd prefer. Okay, so we're gonna have a Stormcast mirror then. Or the Stormcats, as I'll probably start calling them, because I just misspelled it as such. Yeah, Flesh Eater cores I think would be cool. Yeah, Fire Slayers, Sylvaneth, Cities of Sigmar I think is, again, I think that's a pretty higher up one, because it is a mix. It's a mix, right? Humans, dwarfs, elves. So I think that'd be a cool one to add. But they'll do 2 factions per DLC, add mini campaign where they fight each other. That could be cool. I'd definitely enjoy that. Okay, so Stormcast mirror this time. Let's see how it goes. See, are they both just on the basic? I think so.
New Vanguard hunters are standing ready.
I mean, the basic Stormcast color scheme does look very good, it must be said, but let's see how they do. Stormcats faction of all cat girls. Yeah. Ushoran looks like a Soulsborne boss. He does. The Flesh Eater cores, again, it's... and the fact that they're all, like, you know, like, pretending to be nobles, basically. Not pretending, they actually think they are nobles. That makes it just that much better. Like, I can imagine the voice lines would be pretty hilarious. Like, these very fancy undead bros. Like... Witch Elves are Order? Are they? I thought for sure they were Destruction. Grand Alliance of Destruction. Shows you what I know. I think they're both just playing what they think is best, and since it's blind picks, you know, it is what it is, but they did cities, they'd probably just use humans. Probably. I don't know, I think it'd be cool to have a mix of stuff, personally. But... Yeah, I would have thought we'd have seen, like, Tzeentch versus Stormcast maybe here, but... Oh, this Vanguard just getting shut down super hard. They do manage to escape, though. Nakamura pressuring a little bit harder on this one initially, but taking some charges, dishing some charges. Definitely a little bit of back and forth right now. But, yeah, Saturas has control of these side objectives here, which could come into play. It is going to give him a little bit of a boost early. But let's check. See, yeah, just summoning in more units right now. Both players getting population capped and starting to pressure a little bit. Nakamura has forward positioning on these two objectives, but Saturas has the ability to, yeah, he's going to start to pressure over on this flank here with Aiden, or the Knight Vexillor, rather. Does look pretty cool. But just the blue pauldron, I'm sorry, this... it's hard to combat the Sigmarine criticism when you've got this big old blue pauldron. Screams Ultramarines, but anyway, let's not pay attention too closely to that. And look over here, where Nakamura is taking another engagement, pulls back his Vanguards, and just to get a charge in, does not charge the other Vanguards. They managed to actually rear charge them instead, but let's see if I can maybe get some healing here, keep these guys alive. They are taking damage from basically 2 units right now, so yeah, Saturas is able to get in that, get his Knight Vexillor in the back line now, returning to the front line. And yeah, those Vanguards go down, so it does look like Nakamura getting out-traded a little bit on the actual unit trades right now. But he did come back and claim that side objective. And pulling his units back from their forward positioning, getting regrouped all together. Definitely good play. Yeah, this isn't Total War Warhammer, so you're going to see a lot more mirrors, but... Yeah, Tzeentch is very strong. We did see one game of Tzeentch, I think, but they were having a hard time amassing enough blue horrors, and I think probably building too many Kyric acolytes in the early game. But I think it's more so just that this is the faction that these two have the most practice with, probably.
Our strategy is failing.
Yeah, let's see how it goes here. I'm going to capture this forward objective a little bit. This map is pretty large, so like this is one where building the hospital maybe at this center objective could be a good idea. It's kind of a forward fallback base for your units to be able to come and heal, and also give you more production capacity so you can make sure you stay capped. Not sure what's the best option, but we do have a Realm Stone structure up on this one already, even though it is only 50% capped, so Nakamura might want to go through. Same thing over here. This one's already constructed for Saturas. He's pushing forward now, trying to keep those objectives capped. But it looks like Nakamura is going to be able to re-secure this and that little crossbow duel there. You have some reinforcements responding. And Nakamura kind of baits the charge out of the Knight Vexillor there and manages to dodge it. But looks like we got some Vanguard Raptors coming through. Vanguard Hunters, rather. These are the Raptors. The Hunters are going to come through and help kind of swing this fight in Nakamura's favor. Saturas, though, is bringing Knight Vexillor around the flank, bringing some of his own Vanguards up. Hunters and the Liberators also reinforcing that position. Let's see, Vanguard Hunters here, just making sure that objective stays capped. We've got these Vanguards capturing that objective. So both players kind of all over the place on this one, not really amassing their forces too heavily, using those Hunters to go after the side objectives, but I don't know, did that charge actually, I don't think it technically landed on anyone, but yeah, a little bit painful. The Liberators are able to get in on the Hunter crossbows. Looks like Nakamura might have to concede this. Looking very possible that he's going to have to concede this, but Craven Thrones trade nearly 1-for-1 against Pink Horrors. Yeah. Yeah, it's like you have to... You don't even retreat your horrors, pretty much. You just, you know, let them die, basically, but... Let's see here. Nakamura is going to come forward and again kind of pressure these forward objectives. If he could actually, yeah, that would be not a smart investment to actually build a hospital building on this one. Way too exposed, but again, it might not be bad to try and build one on one of these others. But let's see, is he going tier up? Yep, looks like we're tiering up there. And Saturas also is just finished tiering up, actually. Okay, so yeah, he's already got some prosecutors out. They're here to level some charges, literally. All the puns just write themselves with these guys, honestly. Got some Vanguard hunters. Just stun each other. Nice little mutual charge there. But Nakamura is bringing in some reinforcements. He surely has spotted the prosecutors. Coming for some indictments. Yeah, I'm curious also to see like how closely the devs are paying attention to balance. Like, I'd be curious to see if anyone from Frontier ends up watching the stream, or, you know, at least collecting or collating some kind of feedback from it. I don't know, maybe I'll send them an email privately, just kind of talk about my thoughts about the balance so far. But seems decent, but it definitely seems like Night Haunts are maybe a little bit too strong. I think you could probably nerf the Craven Throne Guards, and that would probably be enough to kind of balance them to a large degree. I wouldn't want to take away any of their unique mechanics, but you might need to nerf them also. But yeah, I mean, the Craven Thrones, just nerf their damage a little bit even, and that would probably be enough to equalize the faction. But
The enemy has broken our control over an arcane.
yeah, when you switch the color scheme, it's
We risk losing
makes it a little bit tricky. You have to like manually go into the horrors and actually recolor the different ones so you can tell the difference.
closer. A realm stone load is now ours.
Ooh, this Realm Stone taking some damage.
We can see the enemy.
Saturas is in a really nice position to pressure Nakamura's resource generation here, but not falling too far behind on victory tickets because he does still have the one objective secured, but then moves in these Liberators to secure that objective as well. So let's see, can he finish off the building here before he gets pushed back? It looks like Saturas likely will not. Ooh, these Vanguards getting a nice charge around. They managed to stun the Liberators, attack from the back. Prosecutors on Prosecutors. Oh, nope. The Prosecutors of Saturas managed to retreat, but he does have a full triple cap now, as he's able to get that forward pressure and develop some more units into his midline. Needs to regroup and get together and get ready to fight this push, though, because Nakamura is coming back with a vengeance. He's got multiple prosecutors up in the air, ready to go cap those objectives. Able to fly over that impassable terrain at great speed. And then Iden here, just cleaving through some hurricanes. Raptors, of course. Or are we going to see an air fight? I don't know if I've actually seen two units fight in the air yet. Oh, come on.
Our foes assail us.
Yep, there we go. Units just kind of blunder into each other a little bit there. But Nakamura is bringing up some more units. Oh, we see some evocators out here already. Yeah, both players chilling on tier 2 for the time being. Looks like Saturas going to counterattack. Ooh, nice job getting those long strike raptor crossbows out of there. Long strike, of course, giving extra range and I believe damage. But anyway, ooh, yeah, they just picked off something there. Let's see. Saturas bringing in quite a lot of resources here. Does Nakamura have things which can respond quickly? Not necessarily. And the Raptors getting killed in melee here is pretty painful. Iden's going to try and keep them alive, but one unit is dispatched fairly quickly. And before reinforcements can arrive, will this other one? It looks like they probably will survive. Iden gets a nice knockback there. Let's check. Yep, not tier 3 yet. Not the Realm Stone for tier 3 yet on this other side, so keep on this center fight here. Nice, managed to just nab that Prosecutor. Those long strike Raptor Vanguards. I actually haven't used them too much myself yet, but they do look very cool. They got this like big old monopod crossbow. Absolutely massive.
An arcane conduit is under attack.
I like how they're like Got this ready position, just absolutely good to go. Here come those prosecutors, though. They're going to immediately land, start to try and cap the objective, but they get hit by those long strikes. And... oop, oop, will the charge land? Yep, they do manage to land the charge before cap is up. This side, though, Satoris is able to pressure and get that objective. Control, back. Yeah, it's still pressuring this outpost siphon as well. Kind of puts Nakamura a little bit on the back foot, but if we change perspectives here and go from Satoris' side, he's got some really nice control and just the ability to get these prosecutors and just, you know, put them in very annoying places is giving Nakamura some serious issues. But let's see here. Long strikes have stun too. Okay, that's good to know.
What is our next?
Ooh, we're getting a ballista. Satoris getting that long-range artillery pressure ready for this center objective. Try and seize control. Meanwhile, Nakamura is sending some troops over to the side objective here to make sure they stay on top of things. Yeah, both players pretty evenly matched at this point. Satoris does have a little bit of superior map control just on these outposts right now, but yeah, Nakamura likely to go back and just seize those fairly easily. But the problem is it's pulling units away from where they need to be. The interesting thing about the long strikes is, and this is true of a lot of units, their visibility is actually significantly less than their range. So, you really need to have units scouting forward for them to be their most effective, to be able to see units at a great distance and take advantage of that super long range. Very brutal death animations there. Yeah, see, like this is a great situation where you can take advantage of that super long range. But, let's see here. No tier 3 for either player, I wouldn't think. Satoris could go to tier 3. Let's see if he does. Big old fight. Ooh, Nakamura gets multiple prosecutors out and gets him in a very good position to shut this down. Problem is, I mean, he's certainly holding the center objective very decisively, but yeah, sending out now the prosecutors to try and capture these side objectives as well. There and here. Ooh, 2v1. Those prosecutors are probably in trouble. Let's see here. Yep, managed to drop down and take that one. So as soon as they leave that center objective, it also starts getting taken out, so long strikes, again, out on their own. A little bit tough. Would like to see these prosecutors maybe come help. And I'm not sure. Nakamura must be microing somewhere else as these units kind of get tangled up and don't trade necessarily great, but he manages to pop the heal in there before anyone actually dies, so yeah, Satoris just relentlessly keeping up this objective pressure with these little side units here, these prosecutors of his own, just staying put. And then when they spot enemies inbound, they just flap up and away and go hide somewhere and then come back and recap the objective. We've got some Vanguard Hunters just kind of chilling on the side here as well. Need to get in the fight and come help out, but see if Nakamura is able to seize any more objectives. Starting to get a little bit behind, like a fair amount. Rule Boys, Ballistas, plus Crossbow, Stealth works as spotters. Yeah, oh yeah, big time. Big time. Rule Boys are definitely a DACA faction. I mean, at least in the games I've played so far, by far the most effective unit was that Ballista, so definitely interesting. It's a little bit different than what we're used to perhaps from Warhammer Fantasy, where the Greenskins are much more focused on kind of melee-oriented roster, but okay, so looks like we've got Nakamura pulling back on this side. He does manage to get that center objective set, but let's see if he's able to... Ooh, we've got some prosecutors coming in to just ruin these long strike raptors. Let's see, they're going to set up all 3 units. Manages to stun 2 of them. So, Satoru's definitely getting the better engagement right now. Nakamura did manage to get up to tier 3, though. So let's see if he gets some big, powerful units to potentially swing this back. He could easily get a triple cap here and try and win. But for the time being, He's a little bit behind on population, and yeah, really should just pull back the majority of his units, build up his army, and then push out in one big force to try and get all 3 objectives at the same time and just hold it down.
Losing a strategic asset.
That break a boss, though. Oh, yeah. Let's see here.
Our enemies may
So far, nothing. The Storm Drake, quite expensive in terms of command. I don't know if that's necessarily going to be worth it, but we could also see Sigrun. Oof, oof, oof. Wow, they're just throwing their hammers. That's pretty cool. That's a pretty nice little ranged attack. Just precursor volleys there. They're going to force off of that center objective.
we cannot continue.
And Nakamura's just, again, having a hard time keeping his units massed. But, let's see. It might be for the first time today we're going to see some tier 3 units. I just don't know. I don't think he has the command, really, to try and go to tier 3 units, because he needs to keep his population up as much as possible.
The Dawnbringer Crusade will end here if we fail. The enemy attempt to wrest power from us. Your
Yeah, I think Saturus has got this on lock. I think he's gonna claim the day. I don't know, Nakamura is trying his best, but it's just been constantly on the back foot. And credit to Saturus, he's done a great job microing his units, keeping this one hunter is still just over here on the side. Absolutely hilarious. But yeah, they are there, and Saturus has done a great job of microing his units, getting them in the right place at the right time, getting good engagements, and kind of picking off isolated or weakened units. So good job, honestly. And he'll be the victor for today.
Back to the ground. Swift death to Sigmar's
Oh yeah,
foes.
nice. Good surround, lads. All 3 Unimals managed to get around Iden here. Take their hits. Get their hits in, rather. And pretty cool. I mean, fortunately didn't get to see a lot of Tzeentch today, but we did get to see a good amount of the other factions. I will say, from the outset, it definitely seems like Nighthawks are the strongest.
Sigmar's chosen
Hopefully the devs can, you know, address that as time goes on, but
houses are mounting.
let's see. Very good game, yeah, for sure. Very good game. Nakamura's put up a great fight here. In both games, he was just kind of slowly ground down, you know, despite his best efforts. Saturus just getting a few better engagements in key points of the battle. Fortunately, no Storm Drake. Yeah, it is a sad day. We're not going to see any cool tier 3 units, but it is what it is.
Last of the unit have been slain. More of Sigmar's warriors return to us.
Oh no, there is a Storm Drake. Wait. Yes. Okay, so Saturus did bring out a Storm Drake, just for style, you know, to finish things off.
Tide of battle
Oh yeah, super cool.
against our favor.
Proper Dragon Knight.
Good games.
Not actually something we have. I mean, Imrik really is the only Dragon Knight, proper Dragon Knight in Total War Warhammer, so we'll love to see something like this.
Salvation in the storm.
Oh, let's see. Nakamura has actually got 2 objectives captured. He is holding on for dear life right now. Manages to get the long strike Vanguard Raptors. He's got some Prosecutors holding each objective. And it looks like he's going to go try and capture the center. So perhaps, I mean, Nakamura is barely holding on by the skin of his teeth. If he ends up winning this, I'm going to be very impressed. But, yeah, Saturus actually doesn't have a ton of units. He's got these 3. And then this one over here still on the side that I think he's completely forgotten about. But population-wise, he's going to have a little bit of a hard time, perhaps, getting enough population to actually get all 3 objectives. Maybe. We'll see. But, oh, is he just going to maybe go for the base? I mean, it wouldn't take a lot of hits on Nakamura's base to actually finish it off, so my guess is that's probably going to be the plan here, honestly. Yeah. Yeah, he's just going to go straight for the base and try and finish this, but... Oop, oop. Manages to almost dodge the charge there. Just interrupt these units, prevent them from moving in. We do have a couple of long strike raptors here, but oh, they actually get killed. Let's see, is the all-in on the base? Oh, it gets stunned. The Storm Drake Guard getting a little greedy here, and suddenly Saturus is in a weird position. I had pretty much written this off as a victory for him, but Nakamura just absolutely clinging on. What? What? Saturus throws in the towel? Really? Really? Wow. Is that correct? Did Saturus just concede there? Went all in for the base and didn't manage to get it. I am amazed. Wow. Wow. That was insane. Absolutely insane. Those crossbows, man, just managed to hold it. That big stun right at the end. Holy cow. Wow, I'm almost speechless. That was incredible. I mean, with a full triple cap right there, it wasn't going to be long before Nakamura just got a regular victory anyway, so I kind of understand, but wow, just wow. Crazy. Yeah, I mean, that was his only units, and he didn't have like a hospital to increase his production to try and you know, regame, but that was intense. I'm sweaty. I don't know about those guys, but I'm sweaty just watching. I'll be right back, guys. I'm gonna go open my door up, let some cool air in. Stay right there, don't go anywhere. We got the absolute final coming up right after this. What a game, man. What a game. These two players absolutely scrapping for our enjoyment, so let's be right back. Let's get to the next one. All right. What a game. What an absolute banger of a game, man. That finish was one of the closest finishes I've seen to any game in quite some time. So impressive, honestly, quite impressive. And it looks like for the final game, we're going to have Cruel Boys versus Tzeentch. Excellent. Excellent, excellent. Yeah, Tzeentch versus Cruel Boys. I would give the early game advantage in this matchup to Tzeentch. But Cruel Boys, if they can get to tier 2, Tzeentch, I mean, Screamers could be a good option for shutting down the Ballistas, but Screamers are pretty squishy too, so mean, they can definitely be ambushed by some crossbows and bursted down, you know, before they can even get to the ballistas potentially. So, let's see how this goes. Let's see how this goes. We're going to be getting his Magister and his Kyric Acolytes on the move immediately. Saturas, same thing. We see both players summoning already. What do we got coming in here? We got some crossbows, and then I would imagine more Kyric Acolytes. Interesting, not horrors. Nakamura. Again, more Kyric Acolytes. Interesting. I guess if you're expecting crossbows from the Cruel Boys, it makes sense, actually. Might want to go with more Acolytes, but let's see over here. So, Saturas taking the time to actually cap up that objective. It looks like he's going to do the same on the side objective. This one's a little bit interesting because your main base is actually pretty close to the center, and then the actual realm gate where your units are summoned in is pretty far from the main base in actuality. Like, there's a decent amount of distance there in comparison to other maps. So let's see if that ends up playing into the battle at all, because, I mean, forward pressure is just going to run straight into the opponent's main base. So it'll be an interesting map for sure. I think it'll be a good map for early pressure, and so Tzeentch might be very dangerous here, but let's see. It's going to be all Kyric Acolytes, I think, early. Interesting. Very interesting from Nakamura. Not going any horrors, but all Kyric Acolytes.
We have unearthed secret
So
knowledge.
perhaps looking to get some good charges in to shut down the crossbows. Yeah, we see a little bit more of a mix from Saturas. It's the Stickas and the Crossboys. Crossboys. Yeah, let's just go with that. Crossboys. Makes a lot of sense, actually.
Plan is working, Bob.
See one horror coming out there. Ooh, here comes a little engagement. Magister going to get her AoE ability going off, and a nice charge there from the Kyric Acolytes. I think probably the thinking here is that the charges can interrupt some of the abilities of the Cruel Boys, because they definitely rely on those abilities to trade effectively, especially in the early game. Let's see here. Get the chat back up. 1 second, guys. All parts of the plan. Let's see. Kyric Acolytes, Magister again getting in there. A little bit of crossbow support, but Saturas has most of his units elsewhere, I believe. Let's take a look at his side. He's kind of streaming some in. He did manage to get one up and around in the back. Very nicely done. Going for a rear charge and back cap at the same time. Manages to pressure on this side with his Killaboss.
Losing our magic no what's.
And skewers. Yeah, the Killaboss is a super important unit early. Inskin's Cruel Boys heroes are quite strong. Their abilities, even right at the start of the game, are really, really good. So need a way to reveal hidden units for Cruel Boys. Yeah, Tzeentch. I'm trying to remember who. Is it Screamers that have the ability to reveal hidden units? I don't 100% remember on Tzeentch's roster which unit has that ability, but I'm sure they do. I just don't know how you would access that. But, let's see here. Both players kind of massing. The Kyric Acolytes actually can be healed, which is quite nice. We see another unit of Horrors coming in here. And resource-wise, Nakamura is doing pretty well. He hasn't got, again, great map control, but the cat's just invading my space right now a little bit. Excuse me about that. There we go. Okay. And Nakamura is just chilling back for the time being. Saturas is fairly well spread out. He's got units kind of all over the place a little bit here. He is pop-capped. But, like, these crossbows is kind of chilling back. We're just out of range to actually contribute. Looks like they're moving in there. And, ooh, the Horrors and the Kyric Acolytes making a nice little push. Killaboss coming in from behind, just chasing. The Horrors just running for their lives. But it does look like they're going to get caught up in melee there just a little bit. Unfortunate situation, but it is what it is. Kyric Acolytes will try and charge in and do some damage there. They've got their own AoE ranged attack, which you do have to tech into, but big old knockback there allows Killaboss to just escape relatively alive. Relative aliveness. You see here the Gut Rippers. Yeah, the Shield Boys. Doing a decent job against those horrors, but looks like they are going to be pulled back. Satoris not wanting to waste too many early game units, which is definitely smart. Nakamura trading decently in terms of units, but needs more map control. So it looks like some Kyric Acolytes are going to get sent out on secret agent missions to do just that. Oh, yes. Yes, yes. More objective caps from Tzeentch. That's what they need. Looks like we got the Realm Stone building up on this side and on this side already. There's one Kyric Acolyte here, just reducing the income from it. Yeah, the only problem is, you see Nakamura's only getting +1 Realm Stone because this objective is only 15% capped. He's not really getting much value from it, so definitely needs to send even just one unit just to stand there for a minute to get the capture up a little bit so that this income is a little bit more real, right? So, a little bit painful there. But the forward pressure is definitely doing well. Saturas, it looks like, just went up to tier 2, though. So, we will be looking for some ballistas, probably. We got a Shaman. You can summon this Boggy Mist, which does reveal hidden units, or sorry, allied ground units to become hidden when they are revealed, gain damage and attack speed. So basically just a nice little buff and the ability to ambush alongside those ballistas. It's going to be quite good. Let's see, no ballistas coming out yet. We just see the Cross Boys. Yep, ballistas are there and available. Does have the population cap space to get it, but let's see, is Nakamura not quite going up to tier 2 quite yet? He does have the resources to do so, so I'd expect him to click into that very shortly. But let's see here. Yep. Yep, there it is. 1 minute to tech up. Then we'll be in a position to start getting some Zangors, maybe some Flamers. Hard to say exactly, but those Man-Skewers, some nice ranged attacks there, keeping up the pressure on that far side. Still, though, just the only one Realm Stone from this little sad cap, 15%. Do the Hopgrots lose to Kyric Acolytes? If you're using the, like, let's say you have some Hobgrots paired with the other lads, the Shield Boys, does this ability here, I guess they actually have any? Yeah, this one here, the Scare Tactics. It's Scare Tactics, especially if you have, like, a combination of units, can help buff up the Hopgrots to be a little bit better. I think the Hobgrots themselves actually have, like, a buff or debuff that, again, costs a little bit of Realm Stone to use, so it's not always the most efficient thing, but let's see here. We got the Marsh Crawler's Slogoth, which is just a great name. Giant, like, goblin creature, but it's getting some hits on it from those Kyric Acolytes, but it does have the ability to get some revealing and a hard snare from catching nets. 100 Realm Stone, though, so it's definitely an ability that you want to use carefully, but can be incredibly strong. Yep, looks like it stops those units from escaping, but see, there's not a lot of follow-up. So, yeah, no, that was the best use of 100 Realm Stone, but it certainly was a use of 100 Realm Stone. Let's see here, we're up to tier 2 now for Tzeentch. So, do we have any tier 2 units coming out? Looks like we got some Zangors and some Horrors. No Flamers yet. Nakamura just building up his forces. He's got a little bit of a lead on tickets, which is, of course, diminishing, but as long as he can keep up the pressure, he should be just fine. Zangors are going to be a pretty strong mid-tier defensive unit. Not any abilities unless you tech into them, but I don't think. Yeah, I mean, they don't have any base, but I'm pretty sure there's some you can tech into. I forget. Yeah, Nakamura teching much later. But, Just kind of giving Satoris the battlefield control to a degree right now. Letting him get a couple Sloggoths out. We've got this Killbow, and I don't know, I feel like Cruel Boys is a faction that you need to keep on the back foot as much as you can. Due to them, you know, having the ability to set up really strong defensive positions with these Killbows. Like this right here is going to be pain for these Zangors as they try and fight the Troggoth. Same thing over here, although there's not quite a Ballista up yet on that far side. So Ballista's in a pretty good central position right now. Pyrrhic Acolyte's getting over on this far side, just kind of doing some scouting, feeling things out. Let's see here. Yeah, the fact that the horrors take up population space and they can't heal makes them particularly awkward in a situation like this, where you're trying to kind of boom and build up your forces for a big, strong push. They're going to be a pretty weakened part of that big, strong push, so it's almost worth it, in my opinion, to just send them to die so you can get the population space back and get a couple of fresh ones. But it does, of course, cost some extra command. Let's see here. Nakamura, that early lead is diminished already, and he's now getting a little bit behind on the tickets, so he's going to have to make a push reasonably soon. But these horrors do kind of draw some units away, potentially reveal different strengths, and oof, yep, there's the nets. So again, burns 100 Realmstone for Satoris. He's got really good Realmstone income right now, though, so he's got plenty to spend. But with that, one unit drawn away at least, and the ability on cooldown, looks like Nakamura's going to make a push for the center. Satoris has a really nice ambush position set up for him, though. And just immediately we're going to see the Killbow open up. We're going to see the Troggoth come forward. And Nakamura's got to get his troops in position to try and take out some of these ranged tools. But it's going to be tough. Damage is already pretty significant. Yeah, it looks like the Zangors will be able to get on the bows, the Bolt Boys at least, but yeah, the Killbow is really the one that I probably would prioritize if possible, because it's going to do a lot more damage. But oof, that net, that was a very brutal net. Just freezing all these units in place, not allowing anyone to retreat. And that being said, the Zangors are actually doing a really nice job just coming through, disrupting this position. The Killbow getting caught up in melee now is a very, very sad day for the Cruel Boys. But yeah, Tzeentch's push is doing okay right now. They managed to get this side objective here and continue pressuring in the center. Ooh, nice stun on the kill boss there. He's gonna go down, perhaps? No, just barely escapes. Although the Killbow is definitely gonna go down. Yeah, no question about that. I don't think it literally even has a retreat command, so that one's gone. That said, it's a pretty brutal trade on both sides. We've still got a full health Troggoth coming in here, or Sloggoth rather. But it does afford space for the Zangors to then get in and cap this objective, so Nakamura definitely fighting back. Both players taking some significant losses, but also trying to preserve their forces as much as possible. So, points have been capped. Sloggoth gets back together with his forces, and it looks like Satoris is slowly able to win out on that fight, but he did lose quite a bit. Gonna have to rebuild. It's Killbow, I think. Nope, more Skewer Boys. Troggoth, Skewer Boys. So he looks like he's gonna not try for the Killbow again, which I kind of understand to a degree, although it probably did a lot of damage while it was up. So yeah, the prepared positions of Cruel Boys is always scary when they have an opportunity to set up mines, have an opportunity to you know, set up their crossbow ambushes, their Killbow ambushes. Net's Host might be a little bit too high, honestly. Yeah, it's hard to say. Satoris has got tons of Realmstone right now, though. Look at that. He's got 900 Realmstone. So for him, in this, like, kind of a boom situation here, he is completely fine to just, yeah, keep feasting on this Realmstone. It's actually upgraded to a tier 2, so it's getting even more Realmstone. It's up to 25. That's pretty significant. Yeah, it's extra 15 for an upgrade. That's well worth it, I would say, rather than just building a second one, actually. I didn't realize this. I probably should have looked at the math beforehand, but Does make a lot of sense.
Will be rewarded.
Tzeentch making a big push here, manages to get on both of the Sloggoths. They're basically here as tanks, though, so like here where they're bogging down 3 different Zangor units, it's very advantageous, actually. It allows the Skio Boys to get a lot of value in... Oh, the Unstoppable is using that. Nice way to counter the nets, actually. Just prevents them from being netted whatsoever. And we see a couple of Flamers here trying to do their range thing. They're not going to be as good in melee, especially against a unit like the Sloggoth, but yeah. Cruel Boys making a very valiant push here, but I don't know that it's going to quite be enough. Maybe. Zangors are able to get into melee, and it does look like they spread out to then attack these various units here, so... Yeah, Nakamura narrowly... I don't know, I think that Sloggoth is actually going to hold it for the Cruel Boys, and it's looking like they're going to perhaps take the win from Tzeentch, but I'm not going to call it too early. Last time I did that, Nakamura just came back and had a very surprising win there, but I don't think either of these players are going to be going up to tier... maybe, I guess Saturas did go up to tier 3, right? Yeah. Yeah, he is up at tier 3, so we could see some potential high-tier units. More likely, though, he's just going to continue popping up on low-tier units. Let's see here. Tzeentch is making a very heavy push. Sloggoths are doing a really nice job tanking. Zangors are very, very low and is going to start to go down here. Another net being used. Saturas still plenty of Realmstone to be able to do so. A lot of Zangors, it is, but they pretty much all died. Screamer's going to get in here also. Let's check Nakamura. Yeah, he is a little bit resource locked right now on Realmstone, which is definitely costing him big time. He's not able to match the elites of Cruel Boys. Yeah, Tzeentch is a very Realmstone-hungry faction, so the fact that Nakamura has been a little bit behind on Realmstone generation for most of the battle has been a pretty tough situation for him. Ooh, let's see. Yeah, the Sloggoths as a tier 2 tank unit, honestly, are just so strong. So strong. Well, we do see some Screamers coming in here. They're going to have to hard land to be able to actually capture the objective. I don't know. I don't know if Nakamura realized they're not landed, but let's see here. Still no tier 3. Nope, just mostly Screamers trying to get some mobility here to capture those objectives. Manages. Oh no! There it is. The tickets tick down. And it's going to be a victory for Saturas. Yeah, very clean kill zones. Very nice overlapping lanes of fire from the crossbows and the artillery and everything else. So there it is, folks. Unfortunately, I don't have a post-battle results screen to show you, but it will be a victory for Saturas on this, the first ever tournament for Realms of Ruin. So big congratulations to him, congratulations to Nakamura, and big thanks to all the competitors who signed up today and played and enjoyed. You guys gave us some great entertainment, and certainly I've had great times. I'll surely be playing more, casting more of this game in the future. So yeah, what a game, huh? Sloggoths have the defense tech? I think so. I'd have to check, but even just baseline, they're an incredibly tanky unit. So yeah, unfortunately, this game doesn't really have a way to look at the stats of different units, which for me, coming from Total War Warhammer, where stats are a very big part of the game, you know, it'd be nice to be able to see some of that stuff, but even as it is, you know, you can just judge the units based on their performance, and the Sloggoths are extremely tough, so very, very good. You can either make them tank or support. Okay, brilliant reinforcement tech. That's really nice, making them like a heal engine, basically. Cruel Boys are probably, honestly, my favorite faction, just based on how they play, but yeah, thank you all so much. It's been my absolute pleasure. We'll see you guys next time. I should be back tomorrow with some more Total War Warhammer. We'll have more Realms of Ruin throughout the week. I'm going to be hosting another event on Thursday, so be sure to watch for announcements for that. Thank you all.